shall we talk about the pre-patch, Mr. Flame?
I am not. I thought like we did a couple of dungeons yesterday. So he played on his unholy.
You're just gonna go there?
He played some unholy, and I played some mage, and I thought, oh my god, because I was looking red paladins fucked up. It has Mishama. We're gonna get to it, and I was like, oh, I'm so glad I'm playing mage. Listen, we're gonna get to it. Why I'm not glad I'm playing mage anymore.
Well, let's put it on like this. So we've been through quite some pre-patch events in our time.
Sure.
Well, I'm mentioning in our time doing YouTube because we've been through some pre-patch content prior to doing YouTube as well. I believe this is the shittiest and most problematic pre-patch launch I've ever encountered so far.
Definitely for me too, yeah.
You can talk about the fact that they didn't really test it that much. I mean, there was a PTR for it, very small window. It's pretty hard to get people to test PTR for pre-patch when you have the beta open as well. I guess, that's kind of a given. But even so, I would believe that folks from the Blizzard QA or, the internal test teams or whatever would have some sort of things to see and fix before launching this. And we have like a list here with the things that they're aware of and things that I think both me and Flame and probably you have encountered after the pre-patch launch. I'm not talking about add-on issues because that always happens. I'm talking about all of the stupid shit that we weren't expecting. So when we're gonna develop this, but first let's read what they're aware of.
Sure, let's go for it.
So for some players upon login, action bars 2 to 8 are unintentionally disabled on all characters. It felt like beta, dude.
Oh my god, dude.
Like I logged into all my characters, I hold one action bar. It's like, what? That's not the end of the world, but you don't expect that. I mean, that
sounds like such a silly bug, man. It's like, oh, you don't have action bars anymore. How did that get in there?
Yeah. Oh my god, somebody called somebody. Players in this state will have to manually re-enable any of your extra action bar through the options, gameplay action bars, pre-existing keybinds. The spell should display with the re-enabled action bars. I haven't had any issues with my keybinds, but I've heard some people complain that their keybinds were also messed up. So I hope you're not part of those.
I think we raided Sunshi today, and she said she went on her Beast Mastery and she was missing like 2 or 3 spells. So not only keybinds, they were missing spells. Like what? How? What?
Well, that can happen when you have like, talent reworks and some abilities are, becoming passive. Like, okay, for Unholy, for example, Unholy Blight is passive now. You cannot really activate it. It was still on my bar, but it was grayed out. So who knows? But also new characters, level 10 and below spells on the action bars may not save on logout. Speaking of,
dude, imagine
you're playing the game, you're getting accustomed to it. Oh shit, I gotta go feed the dog or whatever, level 10, I log out, come back in, nothing there.
This is funny because this sounds like a private server issue, man. I've played my fair share of private servers before playing retail, and these are the type of issues that you would become accustomed to on private servers. It feels so silly to have them on retail.
It's weird, man. The same issue may cause some existing characters to have all spells wiped from the action bar on logout if they do not create a new loadout. We intend to fix these issues as soon as possible. They know they messed up. So here's the deal, though. This is not acceptable. Okay, you can probably expect for shit like this to happen when you launch a brand new expansion with all of its content.
Sure.
And listen, this expansion doesn't even have like a brand new feature in. I mean, if we're gonna be real here, let's have some real talk here. Hero talents are basically some extra talents on top of the existing talents. It's nothing new, it's no new technology for it to break the game.
You know what actually might be? The warbands might actually be a bigger feature that would fuck up the game because you would access the game database and spread across your character differently, and the syncing is probably the issue. I still agree that it's kind of not acceptable considering that they've had plenty of time to test this. They probably prioritized, maybe they didn't have time, or whatever.
They prioritized the beta for sure.
If we are gonna have to play devil's advocate, it's just, sure, we can probably give them all the disclaimers, like, listen, they did what they did, and then there was this, like, after a point, we're paying the game. It's a 20-year-old live service game. We're paying premium price for the game, and after a point, you have to say, like, dude, come on.
No, it's totally unacceptable. And I will not stress this enough. They did not test this. They did not, or
Not
they
properly.
the amount of testing they did for this was like minimal. You know, there was the PTR for the pre-patch over there. It was for a very short while, and I'm not sure if they had like, I don't know, maybe 100 people over there because everybody was on the beta. That's the reality of it. And this is what I'm saying. If they do have like PTR for this and people aren't showing up, well, you better have like an internal team that's testing the fuck out of it and making sure that, you know, basic stuff, man. Like you want players to come back to the game. Hey guys, the expansion releases in a month from now. Here is the new shit. There is the changes to it, pre-patch, whatever. Player comes back to the game, makes a new character or whatever, logs out to feed the dog, comes back in to play again, and then there's no spells on the action bars. This is ridiculous. You cannot have this, man. This is
a Raid Shadow Legends bug, man.
This is totally unacceptable, man. And yes, they have 20 years of experience of this. You cannot tell me anything that would make the situation easy. Now, we're not trying to like be overly negative about it. We managed to play yesterday, and we did play, and our experience was interesting, especially Flame's experience was interesting, because we did good, but...
I did not know what was happening to the mage. I did not know that mage was bugged. I did not know that Ignite did half the damage it was supposed to do. I did not know that Arcane had a bug with Touch of the Magi that was also doing half the damage that was supposed to do, and clear casting wasn't proccing as intended. So that was a surprise there as well. Not to mention that I was kind of a little bit laughing at the paladins and the enhancements because haha, you guys didn't get your talents. It sucks to be you kind of thing, but then I was like, fuck, I got fucked too, and not in a fun way. But there was another thing that I wanted to point out that talk about this topic because it has been pointed out for good reason, and there's a side of this subject that people don't talk about as much, is that why are we supposed to test your game to make it out to live, right? Because that's not something that's supposed to be required for things to work.
Not the pre-patch, at least. I can understand
pre-patch too, but also, and you know what? Maybe a live service game that's as big as well needs people to test, and there's no way around it, and you have to get your players to test it because there's so much internal testing that you can do in your house when you release it to the global servers, to everybody, to like hundreds and thousands of people. The things are going to change, but what needs to happen is what actually happened with Diablo 4 and because we've said this today on stream, if we're going to have to be understanding of Blizzard for the issues that can happen and for stuff to like, oh, listen, it's always going to happen. It's just the nature of the beast, is how the live service game works. Please understand us. If we're gonna have that human understanding, it has to come both ways, and it has to come from their end as well. And one of the things that they could do is enforce goodwill, like other games do, where, you know, oh, you can test our beta and pre-patch. I know it's sucky, I know it's buggy, and I know it sucks for us to have to ask you to test our game, a game that you're already paying for, but here's a reward for it. Here's some trader centers. Here's a unique transmog or a mog for everybody who participated in the beta testing, because you know we've had this for Diablo 4. So it's not like even talking about a different game from a different company. They've had this in-house already. I feel like a lot of the issues with beta testing, pre-patch testing, and oh, we didn't have enough people, we didn't have enough time to test things, could be fixed by like, okay, listen guys, I know you want to play your live keys, but if you help us test, you can get this awesome cool mount that's only available to beta testers and pre-patch testers. You'll be helping us a lot, and here's we show our gratitude back. I feel like that's missing. That if you're gonna keep having these issues with every release, at least, you know, show some goodwill, show some consideration on the other side as opposed to just expecting it from the players. Some
goodwill hunting, or at least make the game as perfect as it can ever be if your players are gonna test the shit out of it. There's a flip side to that. You will have the people who would say, well, why do you incentivize that? Why don't you put that in the game for the players who are actively playing and don't need to bother testing? There's gonna be both sides of the spectrum, regardless. But WoW having the PTR, like they have the PTR from day one. So
yeah,
this
but
is
it wasn't like accessible,
now.
right? They had it there, but you couldn't log in from day one, could you? I thought it was pure like at least a couple
I remember
of weeks.
it was from vanilla.
They've added in the client, but I feel like you couldn't log into it for a very long time before they've enabled it. They said that we've had it for like 2 months or a month and a half, and then they said it like, oh, they announced it like the build is there, but you won't be able to access it until like the 20-something of.
Okay, let's say it was available from Burning Crusade. It's kind of an ingrained culture at this point with testing the PTR and stuff. And I guess even if you're not a content creator, you're curious and you want to see how things look and stuff. And that sense of being part of it kind of means something for a lot of people, I'm guessing. But back to the topic at hand, this is unacceptable. Dude, you cannot tell me that the talent builds that you put in for paladins and shamans are intended. Get the fuck out. I mean, we've been through like the cycles of beta and complained about talents. They fixed those talents and then they put it in the pre-patch and said, no, that's intended, guys. No, how does that make any sense?
It's clear that they've had the pre-patch beta build for like at least a week old before the beta was actually updated, because you can see, so Red aside, Enhancement Shaman has had a couple of talent changes that they've addressed during 2 weeks. The first week, after the rework, they've added the pathway from Flurry to, I think it's elemental weapons or something like that. They added the pathway connection down. And the week after that, they've reduced the node cost of Molten Assault, and was another one. And actually there's 2 more, and they reduced it to 1 point from 2 points. But that change didn't make it into the pre-patch, which means that the pre-patch build that they had, they somehow, I don't know how this works on their end, they probably copy-pasted the database or some part of the database from Enhancer Shamans, but they didn't update it because they had it ready a week in advance, which I guess that's fair. But don't tell me that this was intended. Just say, listen guys, the way the patching works is we're gonna be a build behind it. It's fine. Things are gonna keep evolving on beta that cannot be updated for live servers as well. Fine. Just be honest, man. Just be like, listen, it is what it is. I don't know. I don't think they fucked up. I think they knew that this was gonna happen ahead of time. But just give us this straight, man.
Yeah, and then let's not forget your experience last night with your mage. We did a couple of dungeons,
Jesus.
And Flame got stuck forever.
Oh yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. I think
that was only for Draenor.
Yes, I think Stan posted a screenshot. Draenor just crashed.
The server.
Just the whole server. Like if you had tunes on Draenor, bye. I had to just log into a different tune.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, yeah, but it's pre-patch.
The pre-patch, exactly.
It's when the hype is fat, when the hype is hot, is when you want players to. The launch of the pre-patch, the launch of the pre-patch event, the launch of the game are usually moments of high intense hype that you want to use to grab the player in. It's like, listen, dude, this is gonna be cool. Here's a little taste, right? Those are very sensitive times in the cycle of the content and receive an expansion. Whenever it's fucking like this, then you're like. Because a lot of players are like, dude, I wanted to come back, but when I saw this, fuck that, I'm going back to Final Fantasy. I mean, you're losing players. You're losing those players.
Again, totally unacceptable. And I will underline this. This pre-patch, apart from the warbands, which kind of worked fine for the most part, for me at least, it was pretty much streamlined.
The bank is still bugged.
No, the bank, but I'm not using the bank currently.
Yeah, the transmogs, the reputation, was still
sure, but everything. So there wasn't like this big broken feature. Like remember when we had pre-patch for Legion, even for BFA. They were not perfect, but they were not this buggy.
Dude, and
those had systems, dude. Those are like big systems, like
that too. Plus, the Legion pre-patch had combat rogue switch to outlaw.
And also that
survival become a melee spec. So it's not like they just they were simple things, right? No. Things changed drastically in those as well. And I think we had some talents, probably, I don't remember. And Demon Hunters were added. In the pre-patch, you could play Havoc Demon Hunter, right? Yes, so it was a pretty big pre-patch.
Yes, sir. And it was smooth as butter. Legion. BFA was a little bit rocky. I cannot remember Shadowlands pre-patch, but I don't remember being that buggy, to be honest.
No, I don't think so.
This is for the first time in history that we've played a game that it was a pre-patch so messy, and once again without that super big ass feature as it was in previous expansions. So it goes to show that you cannot really, and it's weird because they have so many more people working on the game. Listen, I have a tinfoil hat theory here. I feel like some of the quality of the people they're hiring there is not as good as it used to be.
I said the exact same thing today on stream.
Really? Great minds think alike.
I think the problem is because we don't know for sure, so we might be totally wrong.
Speculation.
But we have seen this in the gaming industry. We have seen this in the Hollywood industry. We've said it today on stream as well. is there's probably a dissonance between hiring competence versus hiring quotas or diversity hires or anything like that, where they're trying to fill in a certain, they're tick some boxes, right? Which, you know, whatever, fair. But whenever you're prioritizing other aspects over competence, over skill, you probably have something like this. Because after a point, we have to say, listen, Blizzard is a very, very big company, acquired by an even bigger company, and you cannot have rookie intern mistakes like these. You cannot have like, oh, fuck, we didn't update the talent. Just tell them that we wanted this the whole time.
Yeah, it's, I think the team that handles the deployment of, you know, these builds, and most of them are engineers. It just feels that although they have like a bigger team right now, it's in some areas of the game, it seems that some people are messing up, or, you know,
I'm pretty sure they're well intended and people really mean to do really good at the game, but, you know, after a while it's a product and we're paying for the product. We have to have a cold approach to it.